Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel where we share safe real estate investment tips, talk about property law and share credible real estate investment opportunities here in Nigeria. Basically, every video on this channel is an asset to real estate investors and property buyers. Finally, on this channel, every subscriber is family, a family of millionaire real estate investors. Welcome.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Raymond Ijoma and I'm a real estate entrepreneur as well as a property lawyer here in Nigeria. Alright, so today we're going to be having a very important conversation, and it's basically a story of how we were able to save our client in the UK from a 1 million naira land scam. She was supposed to buy a land back here in Nigeria for a sum of 1 million naira, but at the end of the day we were brought into the picture to do investigation on the land and further documentation that the land was genuine, and from our investigation we discovered that it was a big scam, and that was how we saved her from losing that money to some scam. Yeah, and this particular video is going to detail to you, of course, in summary, how we were able to do that, and five important lessons that you must learn from my experience. 5 important lessons that you must learn from my experience, and you don't want to miss any one of these lessons because it's important to your finances, it's important to you investing back here in Nigeria. And even if you are living in Nigeria, it's important for your investment, or whenever you want to buy land here in Nigeria, it's important you get all of these lessons, and it's important that you watch the end so that you get the full gist. All right, okay, so of course it's important that you subscribe if you have not subscribed, and just stay in touch because there's a lot to get from this channel. All right, okay, so let's go into the conversation. So basically we got into the picture. The client reached out, of course, through our YouTube channel, and when she reached out, she told us there was this property she wanted us to check out. So to cut the long story short, we visited the place. The first thing I noticed was that the land was too cheap. It was a bare land. It was too cheap. How did we get to know that it was too cheap? Of course, we are in the business. We know the environment. And beyond the environment, there are certain factors you look out for when you are considering whether property is cheap or not. All right. So the first thing I discovered was that the land was too cheap, and I told the client, because the UK client had a representative back here in Nigeria, and I told the representative immediately that this land is too cheap, and then it will require further investigation. It's important that we dig in deeper, pay critical attention to certain details to be sure that it's not a fraud, right? So we asked to see the owner. Upon visiting the owner, I started to see the documentation. I mean, the title documents that the land has. The first thing I noticed was that there was no date on the document. Now, if there was no date on a deed, that would be a different thing. What we're looking at was the fact that there was no date on an approval, which generally is the root of title for that particular document, for that particular land rather, that we or my client wanted to buy, or our client wanted to buy. That was the root of title. So if there was no date on it, what it meant was that we could not lay foundation, or could not trace back to the foundation of when the first person who bought took possession. Alright, so it's like saying you bought a land but you don't know when you bought it. That was what he meant. And then the seller started arguing with me, and it sounded very funny to me. He said they usually don't put dates on approvals, and I'm like, hey, of course I needed to be as calm as possible, but it sounded very ridiculous because how do you tell me there's no date on your approval, that they don't do dates on approvals, right? If we're looking at a deed, then legally I could understand one or two reasons why that could be so. But that you have a land and no person in the chain of ownership among the producers in title can trace back to when he or she took possession, that is a big issue. All right, so we established that, and then I decided to put that aside, and then I asked for the original document, because what was presented to us was the photocopy, and that was where he took his anger argument to another level, and it was like, whoa, what am I doing with these originals? And I'm like, hey, we're not taking your originals, for God's sake. We just want to see. It is for sightseeing, so that we can compare and see a couple of things and make sure that, okay, yes, you have a more than one plot there, and because you have more than one plot, we should see the originals for ourselves and know what we're looking at for. And he got angry, stood up and left. And that was where the second place or the third place he messed up. Because who gets angry because a prospective buyer wants to see the originals of your title document? He's not collecting it. He's not asking to take it home. He just wants to see, and you get pissed off. That was another red flag. But of course, we needed to play the game to the end. And then much later, one of the people that were with him stepped up with him. Later came back. They're like, okay, it's gonna take a couple of days, to look for the title document. I was like, no problem, take your time, whenever you're ready. All right. And then about stepping out to drive out of the place, he called us and said, okay, we should hold on, let him check out one or two places and be sure and check, because he said according to him his house is not far from that place, that he would get the title document for us. Like, okay, no problem. We waited, and about 10 minutes later I came back and said, let's go somewhere. We went to the place. From there, nothing came up. That one said, let's go to his lawyer's office. We drove to his lawyer's office. From there, drove back to his got there, they said nothing. Drove back to his place, and all of a sudden he brings another approval, original approval this time around, with another person's name entirely. So I asked him a question. So it means that this person is now the owner, and this person is not the person that wants to sell to my client? And he said yes, that he's even going to pay the guy 200,000 naira for giving us the title document. I just didn't want to argue from that point anymore, and I stepped up. Of course, I needed to give my client feedback. I narrated the story, and she saw for herself. And part of where the whole thing for that became very clear was when it was clear to them that they most likely would miss this particular client. And in less than 12 hours, I had about 10 calls from this seller who ordinarily was giving me the attitude of, it's not how much, it's you to that seller selling that kind of attitude, and say, how far, I've not heard from you, and all of that. Very, very funny comments all through the calls that he made, and I kept on giving that. She shouldn't worry that whenever my client reaches out, I would certainly get back to him and all. To cut a very long story short, we had a conversation much later again, and my client is not aware of this, but let me just say it, and then you too can learn from it. Now, he later even revealed to me that the land was going for 700,000 naira. 700,000 naira. Remember, I told you they told me initially that it was going for 1 million, right? And I discovered immediately they told me it was 1 million. I knew that it was too cheap. Now they are even saying that it's not even 1 million that it can go, or that it was for 700,000 naira. Because at that point I knew that, okay, yes, this is it. And this is where you want to take the lessons I'm deriving from this particular story. Number one, never allow your excitement for buying any property. Most of the time, it is those who are buying their first properties that have this overzealous, this excitement, right? So much excitement, and they become so impatient. Now, the lesson is, whether you are buying the first or the 10th one, Never allow your excitement for buying any property make you ignore logic. Never ever allow your excitement for buying any property make you ignore logic. Number two, don't allow greed step in to blow your reasoning. Now, I'm going to, with respect to most of our audience who are outside of Nigeria, maybe you are not aware of how things are right now back here in Nigeria and in some states back here in Nigeria. Because some of you, when you tell someone, okay, the property is going for 1 million naira, 2 million naira, 3 million naira, they tell you it's in the bush, I cannot do that. And then the next second, they see someone who has a property in town going for 1 million naira and they jump at it, forgetting that is most likely a scam. How did I get to know that this particular property is too cheap? Because I know what is playing out in the field. We know what is playing out in the field, right? And properties in that location that we went to see that day would be going for at least 2 million. If 100 by 100, 2 million naira. If you get 2 million naira, you should be very grateful. I mean, that would be luck, right? 2 million, 3 million, 4 million naira. And this guy is ready to give it up for 700,000. It should call for caution and a step backwards to be sure what you are getting into. It shouldn't call for excitement that, oh wow, I just got this amazing deal. No, it's not an amazing deal. It's most likely a scam. Rather, this should call your attention to straighten your antennas as it were, so that you'll be sure you are not getting into issues. And that's, with respect, that's why most Nigerians in Nigeria and wherever, why most of them fall into scams. And that's why they most likely will not be selling it at 3 million or 4 million naira or 2 million naira, which may be the actual price, because they know buyers are going to delay and all of that. But by the time you hear that, something that is supposed to be going for the location is good, ordinarily you should expect that this should be going for way more, and all of a sudden you are expecting that it can go for 700,000 naira, 1 million naira, and you are excited about such deals. That's where, with respect, most Nigerians in diaspora have issues with buying properties here in Nigeria. And at the end of the day, they sell properties that have been sold to 5 persons, to you, or 2 persons, or just has issues generally. So you have to be careful. All right. Number three, if it's too cheap, be careful. All right. And then if it's the normal price, still don't ignore due diligence. Even if it's the normal price, still don't ignore due diligence. The fact that it's expensive or it's a normal price doesn't make it genuine, right? But it's important that you also carry out due diligence. And what is due diligence? Due diligence is basically what our client did. All right, going through, carrying out measures that would ensure, determine whether the property is genuine or not. So even if it's a normal price, you have to also ensure that you carry out due diligence. Number 5, how do you know it's cheap? How do you know the property is cheap? That's where you involve experts. We generally just involve experts, people who know. All right. And number 6, let me add this, and this is the most important. Of course, I told you I was going to give you 5, but this is very, really, really, really important. Never consider the physical land alone. That's what most persons do. Never ever consider the physical land alone. Yes, I saw a red flag with the physical land, but when I picked up the title document as a lawyer, I knew that there were more issues. So by the time I submerged, or I put together the issue I already saw with the land and the issue I saw with the documents, then it was enough for me to say, oh, I'm not good with this, I'm not comfortable with this, just like I told my clients, right? So you'd have to pay critical attention to the physical land, where the land is located, the environment, the land itself, is there access road and all of that, and the documentation. And that is pretty much the work of a lawyer. If you are not a lawyer, you don't really have any business checking out documents of a land, except maybe I don't know. But basically, you would have to pay attention to the documents, and that's pretty much the work of a property lawyer. I needed to emphasize the word property in that lawyer, and there's a reason for that. Alright, so these are what I needed to share with you from this particular story and experience from my clients, of how we're able to save our clients from a 1 million naira land deal who resides in the UK. Alright, and these are lessons that are critical for you. These are lessons that can prevent you from encountering such scams as well. Okay, and generally, I also have already detailed this in my book titled "Don't Get Scammed: All You Should Know Before Buying Any Property in Nigeria." Don't get scammed: All you should know before buying any property in Nigeria. I detailed a lot of things and experiences in that particular book, which is available on my digital store. There's a link on the description section. The first link on the description section in this particular video. You can, through that link, have access to the book, and you buy yourself a copy. You can get access in less than 3 minutes. All right. So of course, I have other materials, other videos on this channel that you can really reach out to. I mean, really watch to make sure you have a lot of information before buying any property back here in Nigeria. Again, my name is Raymond Ijoma, and I'm a real estate entrepreneur as well as a property lawyer. And remember that this video is powered by Fortreal Rei Ltd. Thank you so much. Our time is fast spent, and I apologize for that. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.